Yo, how's it going? Well, I hope. As you know, End of Dragons plans to have 4 strike missions based off bosses we fight in the main story. This got me thinking about older boss fights in general and the ones I found exciting to play. So this video is me talking about 5 of my favorite story journal boss fights. I also think that some of these could actually be fun strike missions if attuned as such. Anyway, let's get it started.
Boss, can you hear me? We're cut off. We'll try to help you from out here.
So to start off, we're going to do Shadow of the Dragon. It's the last episode of Season 2 that led us into Heart of Thorns. I really like this fight. This is even technically Part 2. We fought him earlier in the season as sort of like a run-up to this. But I actually really like this fight. So you're entrapped, encircled, and you're trying to burn away certain parts to force the dragon to arise. And the cool thing in this fight that I really like, not only is it that you're fighting this big dragon that just goes into the ground, but you actually feel like your teammates are helping. They'll tell you about here's the fire, and they throw the fire in for you, or you hear Bram giving you a shield. Like, it just feels like they're doing the best they can from outside of the arena, and that's kind of cool. So yeah, I just really like this fight. I think it's interesting. It's pretty cool, using the fire to burn down certain things, and then trying to not to trigger any of the exploding bombs by not crossing the cords and stuff. I like the feel of it. I like how it feels like your teammates are actually helping. It's very, very undertuned, but that's a common thread with most of these fights. I could have done with a hard mode fight. It's pretty interesting. Then you have the phase where these shadow things are trying to put the fire out, and you need to stop them. That's also an interesting part of the fight. Also reminds me a lot of the Queen's Gauntlet fight. But yeah, it's just cool when you get to see the dragon pop out and look around, and it flies up there. It's a cool cinematic fight with a lot of stuff with the dragon just flying around and stuff. It's an interesting boss fight that I feel like is just a lot of fun. I think you could probably do a decent thing with this in a strike mission where perhaps each player, you'd have 5 locations that need to be set on fire, or 10 or whatever amount, and each person has to go over to their own corner to set fire. Like, there's ways you could do it to fight like a big monster like this. It could be in different phases, but it's pretty interesting. It's pretty cool. So yeah, this is the first one on the list, Shadow of the Dragon. And then, of course, at the very, very end, you get to stomp on the dragon to kill it, which is always just a nice little finish.
Who's this? An imposter of my lost daughter? Imposters all around me. You look like me, but you can't be. She's dead. She died the day she betrayed me, just like her backstabbing mother, who I had stabbed in the back.
Father! Murderer!
For number 2, we picked the Caudecus fight during the Head of the Snake story chapter, the 4th episode of Season 3. Now, this fight has 2 parts. You have regular Caudecus, that you fight in his house, his little manor fight, and then you have his crazy fight in his little private sanctum. The normal fight in the house is nothing crazy. It's a pretty standard fight. Cool thing I do like, though, is that you can attack the chandelier, and it can fall on him and stun him and stuff. That's some cool, like, environmental fighting. And I kind of like that idea. You don't get to see a lot of attack, the terrain to cause damage. So that's a cool thing I noticed about this fight that I really like. But the main squeeze, the main fun time is once you get over into his actual private sanctum. Now, his private sanctum, there's a little riddle area in the middle. But that's just sort of, honestly, it's kind of a pace breaker and kind of fluff. It's kind of stupid, honestly. I guess it's supposed to give you a little insight into him himself, like what he thinks, but ultimately it's just fluff. But anyway, once you get to his actual fight, and he's all hulking out and he's berserking, it's pretty intense. So the thing about this fight I really like is, not only is the floor spinning, so it feels very hectic as the room is rotating around and you see all the faces. Not only does it seem hectic because there's constantly the AoE bloodstone spikes just just popping up. But I like the fight because encouraging you to use the environment, I guess, yet again, the environmental items to break his break bar and throw the crystals at him. And I think that's a cool part of the fight where one of the best things you can do is throw the things that he's using back at him. So it's kind of interesting. It's cool. Also, you have the good fighting mechanics of everyone being there, and it looks like they're actually fighting. They're probably not very all that useful, but it looks like they're helping, so that's always helpful. A bit more immersive. But yeah, it's just a crazy, hectic fight as you watch this man slowly descend into madness as he hulks out, and you finally put him down. It's crazy. It's hectic. I kind of like that. That it's just so insane. Kind of part of the fun as I see it. So yeah, just another cool boss fight.
Delusional to the last.
We have to get out of this twisted place. Here!
Ryland! She's lost her mind.
Stand down, Ryland!
I'm sworn to protect my imperator.
Wrong choice.
Now, the Almorra fight. I really like the Almorra fight. One, I like that we're surrounded by the blue holy flame of the Guardian. I think that's pretty cool, so I like the setting. But I actually like the fight. I'm not sure why. Maybe because it feels like it's a duel with another, like, same size, character. Gives you, like, a more grounded fight. Like, it's a close duel between two strong combatants. And I kind of like that vibe. But another thing I really think that's just cool about this fight is it kind of feels like you're fighting a Guardian. And even better, upon looking at it in retrospect, you're fighting a Willbender. Like, this is a way that Icebrood Saga kind of teased about things to come. Almorra down to half health, she starts to use two swords, just like the Willbender. So this is kind of like a little tease to that, and I found that to be kind of interesting too. But yeah, the fight's just neat. It just feels really just cool. Good old one-on-one, each person using their professional abilities. It's just, I don't know, it's just a cool fight. Almorra is a character that you know, and you've known for a while in the plot, so you really get this type of more personal connection with the character than you normally would get when you're fighting just a giant faceless monster. But yeah, it's another just cool, interesting battle between two. Again, I really like whenever ArenaNet does one of these, like, oh yeah, here's foreshadowing a character thing, zapping around. It's just cool. It's just a good fight.
You were my fire, my blood.
I was nothing to you. The only one you care about is Bangar Ruinbringer.
Everything I've done is for the preservation of the Charred.
You'll be the end of the Char.
And that's what it's all been about, Commander. You and I, two comets on a collision course. War, plague, gods, dragons. I've seen them all. They come and they go, like the tides. But a worthy nemesis, that is rare indeed.
Cut the monologue. Let's do this.
By all means.
Ah, yes. Palawa Ignacious Joko. Praise him. Anyway, memes aside, Joko's great. I'm trying just to judge the battle itself and not the great masterful monologue that happens after the fight. The actual fight itself is still pretty cool as well. I really like it. Starts off with a 1v1, just him versus you, but you fight him, and it starts off pretty basic and pretty fine, but if things quickly start to go pretty crazy. So not only do he uses his minions, and then you start having ads that you're going to have to deal with. Not only is there still floor traps happening in the middle of the center platform where you fight, but the cool main mechanic is he'll teleport away and split off into a bunch of fake clones. And this is where you have to use your CC abilities to break it. And I really like the fact that this is a nice mixture of both battle and damage, but also CC to stop things from happening. It's a pretty cool back and forth. A good mechanical fight for people who really need to focus and use both their abilities, or they're gonna have a hard time. Joko's talking throughout the whole fight. It's always interesting when your opponent's talking crap. It's also cool that you can defeat his ads, but since he's the Lich, he just resurrects them. So that's also pretty fun. And the cool mechanic here is you can't always see what's happening, and you have to constantly keep using your quick action to see. There's also the giant plague wall that he does that you have to watch out for, which is also super cool. Yeah, I don't know, it's just a really cool, interesting fight, and he's him trying to be sneaky. It's cool. And you got the scarab bombs exploding and things. There's a lot going on all at once. It's just fun. I like hectic fights. I like one-on-one fights. They're a lot of fun. Well, this isn't one-on-one. We've got the friggin' ads, which is why it's even funner. Is you're being, you are just by yourself and you're trying to do bogus illusion tricks just to mess with you. It's cool. Oh. Plus, it's Palawa Joko. Imagine if this was like a strike mission. I could see it where like the giant plague wall is an auto wipe, and there's like 5 different Jokos, and if they all don't go down, then the whole party will wipe. Like I could see a cool Palawa Joko strike mission if they really wanted to. It's you have one person dealing with ads all the time. I don't know. There's a lot you could, like, if he don't break his break bar, he resurrects all his minions. Yeah, like there's a whole bunch of different things you could do that could really be interesting with a Joko fight. I would love a Joko strike mission. I feel like most people would too. So yeah, Palawa Joko. Praise him.
This cannot be the end.
Whoa. I think you killed him. I mean, I think you really killed him.
Did you? The rumors of my immortality are drastically understated. So, the commander of the Dragon's Watch Guild now stands alone against the god of war, armed with nothing but a sword. And the foolish belief that you just accomplished something.
I've stopped you from destroying Tyria. That's something.
And my personal favorite fight, just because of the spectacle and the actual battle itself, I really, really love the Balthazar fight. Again, it's sort of a 1v1. Technically, you have Aurene there as well, I suppose. But the actual fight itself is just so cool. I love just the amount of dodging and things you can do. It's just really, it's just a cool fight. Like it's just the way he swings his weapon is a good spectacle. I love this boss fight. It's so cool. You have the wave attack that he does where you got to jump over it or you get knocked down. That's always a cool mechanic. I like the mechanics that require you to not only dodge but jump. I think it's just really cool. It's a thing that MMOs don't do enough with. We have the ability to jump. It should be in a moveset that we use a lot. I like using it to dodge things. I like how there's a lot of little spaces in Balthazar's attacks, so if you're really, really close with your precision on standing, you can actually dodge most attacks by being in the right spot, and I like those little precision movements to really, save face. It's pretty cool. Then also you have your team attacks with Aurene, which is, although as a mechanic in the fight isn't super hard, it is a good callback to like earlier in the story. But that's not really what this video is about. But I like that things actually come back around, so that's always good. But yeah, you have your cool Balthazar fight surrounded by fire. Eventually, Krakatorik is there as well, and you're in between a dragon and Krakatorik. It gets pretty hectic. You get to use Sohothin if you want. I don't in this video, but you get to use the legendary Sohothin if you want. There's a lot of cool things going on in this fight. That I feel like this would be another fantastic strike mission. Imagine another Balthazar strike mission, but with even more abilities and more things. It could be so good. He has like there's that phase later where the tower things go up and they need to go down, and you could do a whole bunch of those. Oh man, there's so much good potential for all the ways that he attacks and stuff. And then of course, like in the other things, I love what he's saying. I love what he's talking and taunting you, and your character talks back. Like who dislikes that wonderful awesome line of,
I'm fire! I'm war! What are you?
Still standing.
yeah, it's a great line, and it's just a hype. It's a really cool boss. This is, to me, this is probably the pinnacle of boss fights they've done. Path of Fire with this fight with Balthazar is just so good. And not only is it a good fight, but it's a rematch. Like, we've had fights with him before, but this is like the this is all for nothing. This is it. This is for all the cookies. It's good. It's good stuff. I don't know. I love it. It's hectic. Again, it feels hectic without being overwhelming, and it's just hella fun. What can I say? So yeah, it's good stuff. This is my personal favorite boss fight that we've had in story mode so far. I think it's just super cool. I'm curious to see what we'll get in End of Dragons.
Curse you, Dwayna! Melandru! Betraying one of your own! Grunt! Cormier! May the fires take you all!
So that does it. 5 of my favorite story mode bosses. How do you feel about my list? Any standout boss battles I missed? Please let me know in the comments below. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider a like and subscribing. It's the only way the consortium will ever let me leave. Until next time, stay super.